Hey everybody, it's Missy from Shimmerz again, and today I wanted to try something totally different than I've ever tried before, and that is making my own puffy embellishments using fun foam, stamps, and a lot of different Shimmerz products. And this turned out to be really fun and pretty easy. So I've chosen several different stamps here. This is a big flower from Jelly Bean Soup, and I'm using some archival waterproof ink. And I'm just going to stamp it right on to this fun foam. I'm going to use this Ellie's Studio Heart. And I've chosen several different Shimmerz products. I've got a bunch of them over there on the right. And we're just going to do a test here. I'm going to start out with some Dazzlers. And I've chosen the See You in the Morning color. And I'm just going to dip my finger in it, get a little bit of color on there, and color in this flower. This is Gummy Berry Blue, and I'm just trying to create some shading here. I just picked some colors that I think would blend together nicely and would look pretty together. This is Jelly Bean Green. And I'm going to wind up cutting this out, so it doesn't matter if it gets on the outside of the flower. And if you wanted this to be a lot neater, you could certainly do this with a brush. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to move on to the hearts. For the hearts, I'm going to use some sprays. This is Vibes Blushing Bride, Spritz and Plum Pudding, and Colorings in Pink Stilettos. And I'm just going to let that sit and dry and kind of blend together. And then I'm going to try something different. I'm going to use some Shimmerz Paints here and paint it on the foam first, let it dry, and then stamp on top of it. This is magenta that I'm using here. This lighter pink is called Bubblegum Blast. And I'm just using a brush and brushing it right on. No rhyme or reason here. This is Orange Sherbet. And these colors are really, really pretty blended together. Next up, I'm going to try the Aqua Hues. And these are just flat watercolors with no shimmer. And I've got two different blues here. I've got Rockin' Robin and Blew Me Away. And I'm just kind of blending them together as I make a little area here. This purple is called Purplicious. And this is going to look so cool when it dries. The last one I'm going to test out is a Creamies, and this is called Trippin' in the Tropics. So I'm going to give my heat gun a little run here and dry this up, and then let it dry completely on its own. And you can see how cool this looks. You can still see the shimmer from the paints, the shimmer and sparkle from the Vibes, and then the hues are pretty flat. The Creamies are satin finish, and the Dazzlers are pretty sparkly there. So now that everything is dry, I'm going to come in with stamps right on top of all of this dried paint and test out how well the stamp would work on top of it. And I was very pleasantly surprised that it worked out really nicely. And this foam is really cheap. I got this at Walmart. I think it's like two for not even $1 maybe. And they have a bunch of different colors. So, you know, it's pretty cheap to do this if you wanted to make your own embellishments. So I'm just stamping on all the different color swatches that I've made here. And honestly, I found that the hardest part of doing this was the cutting, because the foam is clearly a lot thicker than any paper that we normally use for scrapbooking. And so my advice, if you wanted to do this, definitely choose a stamp or a shape that is easy to cut out and not very intricate. Like the hearts were pretty easy and the circles were easy. That small flower that I used was really challenging to cut and make it look good. But I love this. It's basically your own little puffy embellishment. I think these turned out really cool, and the possibilities are endless. You know, you could stamp it a couple times to make the black part of it darker. You could use a different color stamp ink. Those are the sprays. I love how those look so splotchy. You could just use these on any layout or any project and glue them down, and you're going to get instant dimension just because they're on the foam. I think the Aqua Hues are pretty much my favorite here. I love that one right there. I love the different blends of the colors and how it looks very watercolor-ish. Very, very pretty. The Shimmerz ones turned out really pretty. You can still see the sparkle from the shimmer. So the foam does not do anything to dull any of the shimmer or sparkle from any of these paints. The hardest one I would say would be this one. This little flower, it was just so tiny and very, very difficult to get the scissors in all those little petals. So I would recommend using a more simpler shape like the circle or the hearts or a big flower. But there's the final Puffy embellishments, and I think this was really fun. And you know, if you've got stamps, pull them out and give this a try. Get yourself some of that foam and just go to town with all your shimmers, because this is a really cool way to make dimensional embellishments. So thanks for watching.